Today is Monday, October 7th, 2019. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we have a roll call, Bonnie?
Here.
Mrs. Cerrucci?
Here.
Mr. Gottman?
Here.
Mr. Lapsevich?
Here.
Mr. McIntyre?
Present.
Mrs. Neely? Here. Mr. Ritter?
Here.
Mrs. Warning?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here.
Did anybody sign up in advance to speak on agenda items?
Not in advance, no.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on agenda items? Yes, sir.
Maybe an agenda item, I'm not sure.
What's the subject?
About the athletic director hire.
It's not on the agenda. It's not on the agenda.
Okay. We'll let you speak after we get through our agenda items. Is that okay? Or do you have time to stay? Okay, thank you. All right, Section B, Bills and Financial Reports. Mr. Schott.
Thank you, Mrs. Ricci. Section B this evening for the board's review, we have Section B1 list of bills for the month of October 2019, Section B2 monthly financial statements for the month of September 2019, and Section B3 budget transfers for the month of October 2019. We present these three sections this evening for the board's review.
Okay, I'd like to open up for discussion. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Schott?
Are we done paying the 360 for this one?
Yes.
Yes, we're done. Any other questions? Okay, there's no Section C, so we'll move on to Section D, Personnel Matters. Mrs. Crump.
Thank you, Mr. Ritchie. For your review this evening, we have under leave of absence 4 names listed. Under transfers per the collective bargaining agreement, we have 4 listed. Employment, we have 1 ESL teacher listed and 3 paraprofessionals. We are also recommending 2 of our teachers be tenured, granted tenure at the end of this month, and that's Melissa Contis and Dina Wazel. Supplemental contracts and 13 volunteers, which we do expect to have more next week.
Questions, comments?
Our ESL, I guess Heather, this is because we're required, we've met numbers and we need to have a second one. Yes. Okay.
Question. The paraprofessionals that you're hiring, do they know what buildings they're going into?
Yes, they do. I talked to all of them today.
Okay, would it be possible, since we are, the district's in such dire need of paraprofessionals and an ESL teacher, to make that an action item? No? Is that possible?
You can make it possible, you'd have to make motion.
I would like feedback from Mrs. Crump. She wants to make it an action item, but I would like to hear from Mrs. Crump on that.
We had initially inquired that it be an action item, and I guess it was felt at that time we could just wait the week. The 3 people that we have, they have to get all of their information in, so they may not be able to start until the beginning of next week, so they might be able to start that following Wednesday. And the ESL teacher, we know she's going to be held, but she can't give us a date until we actually hire her.
All right, that answers my question, thank you.
Okay, good question, Mrs. Warner.
We have a question.
Just the first sort of 2 names on the transfers.
Page 2 of 4.
Per the terms of the collective bargaining agreement, anytime a position is posted, they have an opportunity to bid that position. Then when another position is posted, they can bid that position, so that's why it's the sequence that you
Okay,
see
so they're
them.
jumping to jump.
Yes.
Okay, I was just making sure this was.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay, thank you.
And just for clarification too, I know I asked Dr. Short about this. Did you say earlier that the ESL teacher was budgeted or was not budgeted?
This one would not be budgeted. We had,
We had budgeted for
The third one,
which we
yes.
hired at the beginning of the year. This one is not budgeted for.
So this is unbudgeted expense, but you're also telling me legally we don't have an option because we're out of compliance.
an increase in English language learners. We have a number of students who have entered the district who truly do not speak English at this point. So in the effort to get them caught up, we're making a recommendation on her.
Can it be a half-time position or does it have to be a full-time position?
It has to be full-time.
We looked at that first. That's why we kind of waited on the recommendation.
So now we'll have 3.
4.
4.
4. Oh, I was on the board with that.
And just so the public is aware, the Allegheny County IU, probably Baldwin would be the number one school district with the amount of ELL learners, ESL. Gateway would be second.
How many are they allowed to have? Like, before we end up having to hire another, you know what I mean? What's
What's
like
the
the
ratio?
max?
It goes based on scheduling and services also. It's not just on numbers. So when you need to look at the amount of time of services you're providing for the students. So if you have a student that doesn't speak English at all, they need more services than a student that may just need some translation. And we do have students that have moved in that don't speak any English at all currently right now.
Okay.
Do you see the most coming in at the elementary level?
It's a mix.
It's been a mix this
Yeah,
year.
it's been a mix.
When you say we're number 2, do you mean in Allegheny County or you mean in the state?
Allegheny County. And I think last year, we tallied the languages, and I don't have that number.
We have 18 languages in the district.
Yeah.
Anybody in the room can name 18 languages, I will give
I
you
gotta lose
a
the
stars.
you go.
Any other questions for Mrs. Crump on this section?
Lose the raspberry.
You have a question, Mr. McIntyre?
No, ma'am. I had it. No, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
See, Jack, I do try to watch it.
All right, section E, conferences and conventions. Dr. Chakey.
Thank you, Ms. Cerucci. For the first item, it's an action item for tonight, and that's for myself to attend the Equity Summit in Hershey, PA. And item number 1 up for discussion is a conference for Lauren Bingham to attend the ACT boot camp for behavior analysts.
All right, can I have a motion for the action item? A second?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Williams, second by Mr. McIntyre. Are there any questions for Dr. Chakey on the Equity Summit? Roll call when you're ready, Bonnie.
Mrs. Cerucci?
Aye.
Mr. Gottman?
Aye.
Mr. Lapsevich?
Aye.
Mr. McIntyre?
Aye.
Mrs. Neely?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Mrs. Warning?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Bova?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Are there any questions for Lauren Bingham's boot camp? Seeing none, section F, administrative report. We have another action item. Who's going to take this one? Dr. Chakey?
Item number 1, we have, for discussion, we have an overnight excursion for the Gateway High School Marching Band with James Helge, the Bands of America Regional Contest.
I believe this is an action item.
Yeah, I need a motion before we have discussion.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Neely. Questions?
I have a question for Mr. Schott and his great and unmatched wisdom. The note at the bottom we had discussed earlier, the above trip is at no cost to the district due to fundraising. Just for the sake of transparency, that's not entirely accurate. There's a cost associated with the district truck that we bought to pull their new trailer is being driven by a district employee. We're paying the overtime for that. We're paying the tolls. And then obviously the fuel and then the wear and tear on the truck.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the note was added in direct reference to the prices that were indicated in the resolution
Okay.
for that. But there is some additional costs to the district for that. Very
But the
minor
costs in the resolution are being paid for by the band boosters.
That's correct.
That's correct.
Everybody clear on that? Any more questions? Roll call when you're ready.
Mr. Gottman?
Aye.
Mr. Lapsevich?
Aye.
Mr. McIntyre?
Aye.
Mrs. Neely?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Mrs. Warning?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Bova?
Aye.
Mrs. Cerucci?
Aye. Motion carries. Items for discussion, section F.
Dr. Shaky.
Item number 1, educational services agreement with the Allegheny Intermediate Unit for Community Schools East. Item number 2, facility agreements, Gateway High School Winter Guard, TRWEA show in the Gateway High School Auditorium. Also, the Gateway Girls Varsity Basketball fundraiser in the Gateway High School Sports Complex Gym. Item number 3, several student teachers. We have 1 individual from Duquesne University, 4 individuals from Point Park University, and 3 individuals from St. Vincent College.
Any questions for Dr. Chapin before I move on? Nope, seeing none. Go ahead, Mr. Schott.
Cerucci. Item number 4, seeking to approve the advertisement for bids from vendors for the reshaping of the drop-off zone and replacement of the exterior entrance concrete at the Ramsey Elementary School for a 1920 project, and the repairs to the wall by the Gateway High School auditorium for a 2021 project as capital repair improvement projects to be completed during the 1920 and 2021 fiscal years, as indicated. Item number 5, approve the hiring of the Eads Group to perform the engineering professional services for the reshaping of the drop-off zone and replacement of the exterior entrance concrete at the Ramsey Elementary School in an estimated amount of $5,000, and the repairs to the wall by the Gateway High School auditorium in the estimated amount of $13,500 for an estimated grand total amount of $18,500 to prepare the engineering specifications, drawings, and bid packages required for these capital repair improvement projects to be completed during the 1920 and 2021 fiscal years. Item number 6, approve the advertisement for requests for proposals from vendors for the Wide Area Connection Telecommunications Network, or WAN, services between school buildings. Note the district's current contract for WAN is set to expire on June 30, 2020, and the services are partially funded by the Federal Communications Commission via the E-rate program. Thus, RFP is subject to additional rules and regulations of the procurement requirements imposed by the E-rate program. The RFP will commence after authority is received and will adhere to all the E-rate regulations in addition to state and local governance for purchasing such services. Item number 7, approve the Tri-Cog Land Bank's notice of intent to acquire one Pitcairn property located within the Gateway School District and the waiver of all applicable taxes, tax claims, and admissible claims due against the property as depicted in Exhibit B. Item number 8, approve the agreement with the Allegheny County Department of Human Services for the reimbursement of expenditures incurred by the district for the applicable transportation of foster care children. And finally, item number 9, accept the following district donations received during 1920 fiscal year. Item number 1 is from CVS Health Foundation, a $1,000 check. Amy Bear for Creek Connections at Gateway Middle School. And item number 2, several donations, the first being from Temple David, non-perishable foods. Second, Citizens Bank, non-perishable foods. And Monroeville Public Library, non-perishable foods. Jennifer Hoffner, backpack program at University Park Elementary School.
Does anybody have any questions? Because there's a lot of noise.
On number 5, I'm assuming you budgeted the amounts in this past year's budget for this year. Budget for this?
For 1920, now 2021 will be budgeted in 2021. Conversation with Mr. Brown, he would like to get the process rolling for that because the expectation would be we want to be ready to go with that project since we're talking some major renovations to the front of the building. Since we'll be working in that window, the summertime window, that way the contractor's ramped up, ready to go, and we can tackle that project prior to start of the 2021 school year.
So in other words, we're spending next year's money.
Yeah.
Well, potentially. Now, again, this is just to start the process off for that. Again, we still have to approve it. We still have to approve the bid for that.
Yeah, but
and-
the fees from the EADS, which is what
That's
this is, correct? You have those budgeted, is what I'm saying.
Yes, that would come out of some of the
Okay.
current funds that we
Same,
have in
okay.
there from some of the other under expenditure of some of our current 1920 projects, so.
Okay.
And basically what would happen with that, we would be prepaying that cost. So when we capitalize the project, when it's done, we would include that in it. So that would be all taken care of from the accounting side of things for that.
Okay.
Mr. Bova, would you like to add anything to that?
Geez, I really would. I think before you got on, we appointed Eads Group as the engineer of record.
Okay.
And one of the reasons we did this, in fact, it almost relates specifically to this, that wall that was done at the high school was done without probably adequate engineering consultation. And as a consequence, it was a omni-stone wall that's not lasted very long. So the expectation was having professional, do the specs beforehand would get us the best return on our dollar long term. So that's what we're using it for.
And if you've seen the wall, it's kind of crumbling.
It's crumbling.
Any other questions?
I have a question on the Tri-Cog Land Bank, and I brought this up before. There's a property that they're looking at that the market value is $33,900. When you look at the money that we have put out, which Mr. Shaw had told me was $49,595 for, since we've been, 5 years? 4 years, 5 years?
I think 4, I'd have to double check, but that sounds
Okay,
about
so
right.
4 years. Figuring out what we're gonna get back if they do purchase this, the Tri-Cog, we will be getting back like $673 on school taxes is what we're gonna get back if this property sells. with what the millage rate is on that piece of property at 33.9, if they sell it at that?
Well, I think the main thing would be, and again, I'm not familiar with the property, but in terms of what renovations, improvements they do to the property for that. Some of those properties they're acquiring, they may decide to demolish it and, sell as a vacant lot. So, potentially that could be up, you could have a significant new dwelling placed on a property such as that. Right now, the Tricog Land Bank is in acquisition mode and renovation mode. They haven't got to the point yet where I don't believe they've resold any parcels at all throughout the entire Allegheny County. So again, just ramping up with that, and it has taken quite a long time to get to this point with it, but it will be nice, and not knowing exactly when we'll see selling on the back end, where putting it back onto the tax rolls, making it available to the public to purchase these properties and to reoccupy these properties, and to take them back. So that still remains to be seen. But again, they're still heavily in acquisition mode of various properties throughout Allegheny County.
I do, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I think I know where Mrs. Warning is going, is examining and analyzing the last 4 years, what we paid into the COG versus the properties that have either been torn down or added to the roll. So, in my,
Yeah, there's no return yet, I get right.
Yeah.
But I don't
Correct.
think you bail out before you get the return. I think when we entered into this, if I recall, we knew it was going to be a long-term program. I don't remember exactly how long we were anticipating. Is it taking a little longer,
this
do
is a
you
little bit
think?
longer than what we
Yeah, I
anticipated.
mean,
Yeah.
there was no indicated break-even amount or anticipated out there for it. I think one of the other things that was highlighted when this program was rolled out was, not only some of the financial means, but also in terms of remedying some of the community blight that's out there that also could negatively affect other property values around these properties. So, and it's hard to put a dollar onto that as well. So, there was other non-direct, non-dollar positive that would come from this
Non-measurable,
program.
maybe.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
I'm looking at, it's just when you're talking Tricog, the Valley Tricog, it's just not Gateway. We're talking Woodland Hills, we're talking East Allegheny, we're talking,
Multiple
multiple
municipalities.
municipalities. So they could be using the money that Gateway School District is putting into it for other properties. So that's what I'm saying, where is our return coming back? And just like I'm saying, this one property that they're looking to acquire at 33.9, what the market value is, we're only looking to recoup. It's like $673. So, I mean, the big thing now is, the money, we don't have money for this, we don't have money for that. So how long do you feel, we can't even put a time frame on it to say, what they're gonna pick out. So I think that's something the board should look at. I think the last payment you said you made, July 22nd was $16,000, to the Tricog. So we're putting money out and getting nothing in return. So, if we need money elsewhere.
I don't think that's a fair statement. I'd say we're not getting our return on investment yet.
Well,
If I can, it's funny, Dr. Short actually has notes here that while we were going through the agenda, and we're actually agreeing on something here, Val.
I might change my.
No, I think both sides have a valid argument that, we have been putting in a lot of money, and if there is a potential back-end return, I think it's something that has to be considered. But I think everybody in this room right now is just looking at nothing, because we don't know. I think it's worth to do like a State of the Union, update on what's been purchased within the district, as opposed to outside the district.
Would you like us to invite?
How much we've paid and what we think we might get an actual return on as of right now.
Maybe we can-
And then at that point, I think we can look at that data and assess it. Sorry, Mary Beth.
I'm just trying to say, would you like us to invite representatives from the Tricog back to do it?
I like
Refresh our
that.
presentation.
That's fine. I'm just saying, I just don't like to see putting money out or that we need
Tuesday.
return.
Okay, or should we wait until December, January?
Paul, what do you think? Would it be appropriate to invite some of the leaders from the Tricog to come here? Is it too early for them to even have anything to report to us?
Well, I think at this point, I've never attended any of their meetings, but I think it would just essentially be, here's the inventory that we currently have in Roeville and Pitcairn. Obviously, we know what the amount we've paid out, almost $50,000 for that. But in terms, and again, trying to speak for them, I'm not sure what their time frame is for turning some of those properties around. They may be able to shed some light on that for that, in terms of what their end game is and whether it's just are the properties at a certain point where they want them to see them before they are able to turn them around? That I definitely couldn't answer, but, it would
I
definitely,
think
in
it
terms
is a
of
good
getting more
idea
information
perhaps to
from
bring
them.
them back in, just to even provide new board members with an overview.
And to let them know that we are wanting some movement on it. I like Val's point.
They don't give you any kind of, like a listing, even just say every other month of, hey, this
Report,
is what
summary
we-
report.
This is, yeah, like some sort of, report, like,
I
Val,
haven't-
like, this is, I don't care whether it's Gateway or wherever, but, I mean, I would think every district should be asking for this that's involved in this. Show me what you guys have done. Like, we're giving you this money, but you're not even showing us a list of properties that you've purchased or what I'm not quite sure how this all works, because I was not on the board when you guys all adopted this, but, like, I kind of agree with Val, you're throwing this money out there, and like, hey, like, give us some feedback here.
The other side of it is they might be stuck on something, maybe we can help them with that. We just don't even know one way or the other. That's what worries us, yeah.
I'm just, not to interrupt you, the meetings that I had gone to, you have a representative from all the districts that are involved in this. And they will show you this property's up, this is, it's like a sheriff's sale that you go and, okay, I'm gonna purchase this or whatever, but then I haven't seen any of that movement going on. So that's like when, Mr. Shaw put this on as the one property that they're looking at. And, I pulled it up online to see what it is, the market value, how much are they gonna put into it, how much are they gonna use? That's the thing, so will we get a return on it? That's, will somebody purchase it? And that's something else that you have to look at.
Right.
So
How
that's
often they have their meetings?
monthly.
There has been in the past some summary reports that they put out in relation to some of the meetings that were discussed that list various properties, throughout the communities that have been acquired. We could try to track one of those down and electronically, email that out to the board to take a look at one of those just to kind of get a feel for some of their acquisition process.
That would help, thanks.
But I think, what Mary Beth said, if, we can bring someone in just to give a overview as far as that, the anticipation is. Thank you.
Any other questions on any other items? Mr. McIntyre, do you have a question? None? Section G, resolutions by board members. There are none on the agenda. Does anybody have anything they want to add? No? All right, comments from residents on non-agenda items. Sir, you may step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Justin Engelke. I'm a resident of 1330 Foxborough Drive. So thanks for taking my comments. Just want to make a general comment endorsement about a non-business item for today. Just wanted to make a general comment regarding the upcoming athletic director hire. I understand that Coach Don Hall is one of the candidates. Just wanted to bring my endorsement to the board. I've come to know Coach Hall for 2 years. My son's been a player on the team and have been impressed by his discipline but fairness, I think structure, not to mention his winning, athletic performance has been quite strong. Not to mention, I think that one of the things I like about him, I mentioned integrity and fairness and strength. Being a United States Naval Academy graduate, I think is a good role model for our children for many different reasons. So I've been impressed by all that. I think that both my children, one a recent graduate and one a current student athlete, I think that attitude, I think his morals, his values, his commitment to the team, I think would be strong and lend to other sports. So I just want to make my comment known to that, and appreciate your time, and hopefully we make a good hire. This is important for Gateway student athletes, so I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Justin. Anyone else wish to address the board? Mr. Elms?
Bob Elms, another Foxborough Drive resident in Monroeville. I just want to thank Dr. Chakey for going to this Equity Summit. It's coincidental that I just heard about another Equity Symposium by the National School Board Association. It's next year in Washington, D.C., and just a little background on this. Back in 2010, the Montgomery County School Board Association, Montgomery School Board, received the Malcolm Baldridge Award for excellence in education. the 2012 school board at that time actually sent some representatives down to Montgomery School District in Maryland to find out what they were doing. At that point, Gateway wasn't ready to take on any of those thoughts. However, it appears as if Maryland did take on some of that, because I've noticed that 2018, the Maryland Association of Board of Education school board unanimously voted to define equity, and I sent a copy of this to Dr. Short and Dr. Chakey, which was excellent. It actually went through and defined equity, and then it looked at how you could look at equity through a special lens, and the information they had was fantastic. If you see it in your budget, you have an equity committee someplace in Gateway. It would be nice if you could send a couple representatives down to this other conference. The more you learn, it's not worthwhile reinventing the wheel. So thank you very much for your interest in equity. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Holmes. Anybody else? All right, let's move on to section 12, reports. Superintendent report. Would you like to go first, Dr. Short?
Sure. We had a wonderful homecoming weekend, Thursday night. Shout out to our sponsor, Eve Dudek, and the number of students that were involved in the annual carnival that is held adjacent to Mosside Middle School. It was very well attended. Also, I believe there was a building and grounds meeting that night. I thought all the cars were here for that, but I was mistaken. They were here for the carnival. Also, our Gators prevailed on Friday night. The band did a wonderful performance at halftime. They're going off to Tennessee the following, I should say in 2 weeks. But also the homecoming dance was festive, and Mr. Stevens, Mr. Barlack, and Dr. Fournier all followed up with me and said everything pretty much went well. One minor situation that I discussed with the board, but all in all, an outstanding weekend. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Switch up our direction this evening. Mrs. Neely, do you have anything? No. Mr. Williams?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Mr. Galtman?
Yeah, one quick thing. Right now, we're in the middle of the high holidays for the Jewish community. Last week, we celebrated Rosh Hashanah, which is the Jewish New Year, and starting tomorrow night will be the other half, which is Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. So for the Jewish community, I'd like to say Lashana Tova, and have a happy and healthy New Year.
Thank you. Mr. McIntyre?
Nothing at this time.
Mrs. Dawes, do you have anything?
I have nothing to report. Either way.
Chelsea?
Yeah. I have nothing to report.
You have an update for us this evening for building and grounds, possibly?
Yes, ma'am, I can do that. As Dr. Short mentioned, we had a Building and Grounds Committee meeting, and I'd like to thank all three of the members of the community who showed up for that. It's not a big deal, you know, we're just talking about millions of dollars to new schools and upgrading existing schools, so good to see nobody really pays much attention to that.
They all watched it online.
Yeah, got a lot of feedback. We talked about a couple of different things. Ramsey School, we mentioned some upgrades going on there that are been long needed, both inside the school and out. University Park, we talked about an elevator to get to the second floor of that building instead of having to do whatever those folks have been doing. And we also talked about establishing a steering committee to deal with the decisions to be made concerning either the middle school expansion, modification, upgrades, whatever decisions the board is going to make. So we'll be talking about that steering committee in the next couple of meetings. And that ought to just about do it.
Thank you. Mr. Oxford?
Nothing this evening.
Just one quick thing. I just want to say thanks to Mike O'Brown. He has been running back and forth trying to handle all the videos because we have no video person to help us, so he's trying. So, Mr. Ritter, if you have any comments about not being clear, he's trying to work on the sound and everything. So that's the problem. He's the only one handling it. So, Micah, thanks a lot for going out of your way again. And that's it.
All right, no report except to say I'm not sure that we really got an advanced agenda out for the Buildings and Grounds Committee meeting. I went out there, I think, earlier that day, and there was nothing out there. Then, after the meeting, I noticed that something had been posted, so maybe I just missed the window. But we need to really make sure that not only do we get them 24 hours in advance, but like 48 hours.
Write that down, John.
I'm just saying, let's get it out there, so,
Get
you know.
that agenda out there. See if we can get a bigger crowd here.
That's it.
Just a reminder, we are accepting application for school police, food service, and custodial substitutes.
Nothing further, thank you.
Nothing at this time? Just a quick equity update. Two things that we've been doing since the last meeting. One, we're continuing the professional development that's centered around culturally responsive pedagogy. Next week, the October 14th in-service, we'll be running 2 sessions, one for some of the departments at the high school and the other for grade 2 teachers. So we're excited about that. And we also, as we established the school equity teams, we have 2 school equity team leaders that are going to join the Gateway School District Equity Committee, and that's going to be a representative from Ramsey and one from University Park. So now every school in the district will be represented at the district-wide equity committee.
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
Okay. With that, I'd like to seek a motion to adjourn. Second? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned.